All right, let's bring in our panel on this. Of course, that's the reaction from the Garner family. Dominic Carter, of course, you met here, and Andrew Whitman, senior political correspondent. So the scene we got yesterday, and you got access to the family, you got access, obviously, to the representation for the police here, to the PBA head. And we've had other incidents. We had another story that we showed last week, also that one from Brooklyn, another one over the weekend with a pregnant woman. We've gotten some statements. What's interesting is you have the DA in Staten Island saying that he met with the Garner family, and we're still waiting to see where they'll go, if they'll pursue criminal charges against the police. And you also had the mayor who's back in town and the police commissioner saying some stuff today. And I'll start with that, Dominic, which is, this is a defining moment for the mayor. You've seen a lot of mayors come in, and it's not one of those things that you can plan. Somewhere, somehow, that there's going to be an incident, and it's not always caught on video, where the question is, well, what's going on? And usually it's a community of color, that there's a victim, and then there's law enforcement, sometimes black, sometimes white, sometimes a combination of the two and Latino. And then there's the question, where does the mayor fall on this, whose side, and what should the public expect? De Blasio's back right now. You said it was important that both Sharpton and the family gave the mayor not only a pass, but good grades on this. What's their expectation that he's going to do?
Well, right now, things are very calm. And the reason why they're calm is because this mayor, Bill de Blasio, from the left of his party, the Democratic Party, has built up some reserve with this family. So thus, if this had happened under Mayor Rudy Giuliani, he would have never have called the family. Mr. Giuliani's point of view always was, until the investigation is complete, the benefit of the doubt belongs to the police officer.
Tie always goes to the cops, right.
Right.
Andrew, the police commissioner, who de facto served as a spokesperson last week, limited press, but he did talk a few times. He, like Mayor de Blasio, said it looked like a chokehold to him. He said, let's wait all the facts, but it was significant that they said that, where they didn't need to go that far. Well, when pressed, broken windows, for those who don't know, that's basically quality of life policing. Introduced, really, or at least fully introduced under the Giuliani administration and upheld under the Bloomberg administration. They said every little graffiti mark, every little panhandler, the squeegee, selling loose cigarettes on the sidewalk, whatever the case may be, we're going to crack down on it so that the quality of life for everybody improves. This last couple of days, Bratton was pressed on it. He said, you know what? I still believe in broken windows. I still think it's good for New York. Is that policy in many ways on trial because of the Garner case?
I think that may actually be the biggest trial or the biggest policy that goes on trial here. Obviously, chokeholds are not going to be acceptable, and especially when they're on video. The question that Garner's father asked, if he had been white, would this have happened? That's the one that resonated with me, and I think you're going to see a lot of examination of that. But when it comes to quality of life issues, a lot of people don't want to see squeegee guys return to the street. When the arrest of the Spider-Man in Times Square this weekend, that resonates with a lot of people because it's pretty annoying, and a lot of people don't want that as part of their city. So I think that may be the biggest conversation that we have to have, which is just how much are we going to police these minor incidents, and what level of police force and response are we going to deploy to try to counter those?
And what's interesting, Dominic, even if you go to projects, right? There's not unanimity that that the cops are just there as a complete nuisance and a hassle. Some folks say, hey, we want the presence here because we don't want the dealers running them again or fill in the blank. And a lot of people say, time out. Just because I'm black doesn't mean I got to go spread them and put my hands on the wall every other day. But on the flip side, they said some of the older residents and some of the families that are in there, if the cops aren't around here, the worst element kind of takes control and fills a void. It's a complicated thing about, did crime go down because the economy went up, or did crime go down because the policy worked? And there's mixed findings on it.
Certainly, that's a very good point to be made in all of this, Richard. Frankly, I don't know any community of color throughout the tri-state area that does not want the police in their community. Everybody, white, black, Latino, Asian American, everybody wants safe streets. The question is, how far do you go in law enforcement strategies? So the reason why this mayor in particular has built up tremendous reserve with communities of color, he comes in and immediately says stop and frisk is over. That's the first thing he does. He issues a payout to the Central Park Five in the joggers case. And then you have the Eric Garner case, and he puts off his vacation a day and picks up the phone while saying we have to do a full investigation. And this mayor and this police commissioner, they reach out to the Garner family. And even more importantly, this is important to make up this point about the man that's on the screen, Bill Bratton there. For Bill Bratton, who is under tremendous pressure, who started broken windows theories under Giuliani.
Right.
It is his baby. Him, John Miller, and Jack Maples, who is now deceased. For Bratton to go to the Blue Room of City Hall and say this appeared to be a chokehold to me, one, that builds up tremendous reserve, and that one comment is going to cost the city millions in a settlement.
All right, and there's so much to follow here, but in the coming days, what we're going to keep our eye on is, what does the Staten Island DA do? What happens next here in terms of where the investigation goes? Will we hear about any, will they impanel a grand jury? I mean, and what about the medical examiner's report? When are those findings going to be made public? We'll keep an eye on it, but trust me, it's not just about the Garner case. We're going to be showing you there's other incidents all now, because everybody's got camera phones, caught on video, questioning as to whether or not the policies are going too far. And then the cops answer, well, if we're not going to use this, how do you expect us to detain somebody who doesn't want to be detained? We're going to get into that conversation in the coming days. Okay, but we're going to go from New York City up to Albany next, where Governor Cuomo is firing back at critics. He was in the North County today, and he is defending his handling of the Moreland Commission and fighting off allegations over his administration's interference. What kinds of problems could this make for a governor who is running for re-election? We'll get into that after this.